everybody, welcome to Trackalicious. Happy Wednesday. You made it to round number 6 of the Multiclass Championship. I'm Kusha Terekov. Alongside me this evening, we've got Tyler Morgan joining in the commentator's booth. How are you doing this evening, Tyler?
Not too bad. Looking forward to watch some multi-class action here on this wonderful Wednesday evening or Thursday morning or whenever you're gonna wanna watch the stream bot. It's up to you. Yeah, this will be quite interesting. Not one of my favorite tracks. I personally don't like it, but then again, I hate all British tracks, so fight me on it.
Well, we might just have a fight on our hands. On the track for championship position, at is super tight between the GT3s and the GT4s so far this season. Let's head to the track. Let's see what the action in the night is all about. Nice and early 4 a.m. start for the GT4s. The first 10 minutes of the 20-minute qualifying session are for them. Ilpo, your most recent race winner from 2 weeks ago, it feels like forever ago with that holiday in between, but he is your most previous race winner in the GT4s, looking to set the out lap here early on and start pushing for that fastest lap in this qualifying session.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how the drivers take to now their qualifying being at night, so some of your braking markers won't exactly be all that visible, some of them at least. Others are like just kind of feel braking markers. Donington's very, I'd say like, Donington's another track where you kind of have to have the flow, and if you don't, you're kind of just sad because there's not really, the track limits essentially are grass, and if you touch that while driving, you're just sad.
Yeah, certainly one of those old school tracks where not a lot of asphalt runoff. As you can see, Ilpo here clearing almost the second sector now, going down the back straight before approaching the S's. Very tricky corner out of turn number 8. The car just always seems to want to break away from you, and it is a very crucial part of the track as you carry all of that momentum down that back straight and up into the chicane, in which the Camaro bounces over the exit curbs, but maintains a steady heading towards the penultimate hairpin at turn number 11. And then it's just one corner left around this relatively short track around Donington. Should see some pretty quick lap times here. The 204 Camaro now rounding the final corner and coming up to the line. And with it being the night, we will certainly not be seeing the most representative times here. And it looked like he invalidated the lap as Alex Freeman is first on the board. A 1:34.797, the time to chase.
Yeah, the invalidation spots are quite easy to be able to mark. You have the invalidation spot in obviously turn 1 exit going towards turn 2. You have the right-hander exit downhill where if you carry too much speed and run across and do not stay on the white line, you will invalidate. And then obviously you have that chicane where you want to be able to try and take the most speed and cut the corners as aggressively as you can. But the track limits there are very, very strict.
Yeah, certainly strict track limits to deal with. The first herd of GT4s coming across to complete their first set of flying laps. Alex Freeman leading the way so far in his number 14 Aston Martin. Dr. Porkchop going wide at the turn 1 exit. Tyler mentioning keeping the car under control though. Nearly going into the tire wall, but all still pointed in the correct direction for Mr. Porkchop, Mr. Dr. Porkchop, if you will.
Doctor's gonna need a change of clothes after that, but that's just my opinion. Yeah, exactly as I theorized. You go a little bit wide, you touch the grass, and if you're even the slightest bit on throttle, your car is going to get thrown sideways. So your car handling, throttle control, and precise steering are going to be very, very important aspects. as De Santiago is going to move up to P6, but he's still got a long way to go. He's still got to find 4/10 if he want to get find himself in the top 5 of the GT class, and another victim gets taken by the turn 1 exit. Continuing on, because I don't know where Kuja went.
Still here. He's still on a valid lap until then.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Up until that point.
I would be. What were you just either waiting for the invalidation or waiting to say I was wrong?
No, I was just waiting to see what the lap was going to happen, and sure enough, he went wide. And
you didn't invalidate after turn 1?
No, turn 1 has a decent amount of leeway compared to the rest of the lap here at Donington, where Fernando Carabete is now looking to move up into the top 3, trying to show how quick the rookies can be.
He's not a rookie.
Multiple-time podium sitter in the rookies this season.
He's not a rookie. Not in my eyes. He's not. When you're a full almost half second ahead of the field in the rookies, you're not a rookie. You are in the wrong division, my friend. Alex Freeman, the GOAT of how I do my pitch strategies, gets to within 1.5 Good for him. The only reason Fernando isn't rookie champion is because I was around. I mean, I want to say yes, but I also haven't participated in much of the rookies this year to make that in a okay. All right, I believe you on that. I'm just gonna smoke all you guys at Red Bull Ring now. That's my track. I will not, like, if I don't, anything less than a podium in that track for me is gonna be disappointing. Even with the pace of you guys. So, as Hezi Thomas, is he still controller as of right now, or did he finally get it?
He's on controller. The new wheel is predicted to come in Q1 of 2026. Diego Mostachero to the line, gets his personal best, moving himself more solidly in 4th place. About a 10th ahead of Fernando, about a 10th behind Justin Beachley, and we are down to the final 2.5 minutes for the GT4s to set their grid order. Ilpo did return back to the pit, so he is on some fresh tires looking to get another quick lap in. Alex Freeman has been out this entire time. In these cold conditions, the GT4s will certainly take some time to get warmed up with them not having any tire blankets on the car. And up to the line, Alex Freeman unable to continue the pace throughout the lap and just missing out on his personal best. Still needs about a 10th and a half to get ahead of Ilpo. Currently sitting in a front row spot, though. In 2nd place, Justin Beachley and Diego Mostachero could very well take those positions away from him, though.
Is Ilpo and Freeman the McLarens, and then everyone else is just the grid? Where's our Max Verstappen to make this a 3-way fight? Maybe we'll get maybe Rally Dutchy can find 3 seconds of time.
You never know. He finds 4/10 and gets ahead and moves up to 8th.
Good enough. Dr. Porkchop's out of qualifying for the GT4, so he's done. Number 19 is going to be next across the line. 19. Is that 18? No, it's a 10. Oh, that's out Quan. It is Quan. All the GT3s are now lining up at the end of the pit lane, waiting for their 10 minutes. Catabrete is done as well. Now, with hairpins like these, Kuja, do you think it's better to take a very thin line and then open the throttle on the way out, or go for like a wide arc and try and gain as much speed as you can?
I feel like it's a lot down to how the car mostly wants to take it. Some cars tend to like that kind of earlier rotation. Other cars, you can kind of keep the grip through the corner. Alex Freeman improves his time by a couple hundredths, but he can't find the 10th he needs to get ahead of Ilpo to take the front spot away.
And he's done. He doesn't want to try that again, apparently. He must be out of fuel. Hezi Thomas
Oh, running wide. And that will be the session done, yeah, for him.
He's not going to be able to make the line in time, not even close. He needs to get out of the way of Beachley behind. Andreas, what can you provide? You need to find 6/10 to even improve a position. What is he looking at now? What does your timing sheet say, or do you not want to jinx it?
He's looking good so far. We'll see what the final corner can provide. It's so tricky to get the power down and get it carried all the way up to the line. He does improve his time, but it's not quite close enough. Needed about another 10th to get ahead of Fernando.
Did DeSantiago cross the line in time? Because look where he is in relation to the GT3s.
You know, he must have if he's continuing on and not invalidating his lap. So now it's up to Neil Kerbel in that 395 Lexus to protect Brian DeSantiago, but he invalidates his lap, and that will be the session done for the GT4s.
Commentators curse as if on frickin' cue.
That's how we do it around here.
I'm so good at that. It's the one thing I can hang my head on for the rest of my career, is I can do nothing but curse people. Too bad I can't like be in the booth and rookies at the same time, or else I would just curse everybody. But it doesn't work like that. All right. My championship-winning teammate, Neil Kerbel, because we won the team's championship in DRL season finale last night, is going to start his flying lap as he's going to descend down the hill, want to slightly touch that curb, brake at that first meter board on your right-hand side, accelerate through the corner, trying to not to invalidate, nick that little curb on the left. You'll see a left-hand board there right on your screen, brake there, trail into third, nick this inside curb, full throttle on exit. Up the small little hill you go, you want to brake here, turn in, and then as soon as you get the power down and the grip, but as you can see, in these cold conditions, even the GT3s are struggling for grip. The second one, you want to brake right there, cut this inside curb, cut this carb, and then full beans throttle on exit, getting ready to brake at this marker here, or kind of in the middle of between both those markers. Try and open up this hairpin as much as you can, full beans throttle. There'll be a braking marker on the left-hand side here that Kerbel will hit now. This corner is kind of weird just because it descends left-hander. The car is actually kind of pulling you away. And then full beans throttle on exit for a 1:26.9.
Good time set by the Lexus. What can Devin Anthony do? Quick 10-minute session goes by pretty fast here. He gets the time on the board, about 3 seconds down. Kevin Yu, next in his number 95 Ferrari, gets on the board, about a second and a half down from Neil Kerbel. What can the rest of the grid do with Jim Reynolds now coming across the line in the 313 and not able to get a valid lap on the board this time is Jim Reynolds. He will have to go around once more, and Professor Chronotis,
he's still getting there.
He's kind of, yeah, just kind of got the track to himself right here.
The turtle takes its time. That's what I always say to myself. The turtle takes its time. He's just enjoying himself nice and peacefully. Oh, that is an odd strategy. He probably lost a few, maybe micro-tenths there, trying to get to the better turn one line. He's going to find himself P4, and as expected, Sarah Liu and Neil Kerbel a class above the rest of the field.
Yeah, they're certainly have been there all season long, currently separated by about 3/10, and Neil Kerbel able to improve his lap on that last go-around, and Sarah invalidated earlier on, so she will have to go around once more. Devin Anthony in the top 4 after setting his personal best on his previous lap. They've got Neil Kerbel on top, Sarah Liu second, Kevin Yu third, then Devin Anthony running in fourth. Cronotis fifth, Mock Speed in the Nissan in sixth, Tony Gold seventh, and still waiting for a time from Jim Reynolds, as he will have to go around one more time. 2 invalid laps so far from the 313 Ferrari. His last personal best would have put him inside of the top 5. So if he can just get that lap within track limits, he will certainly be sitting pretty in that GT3 field.
Yeah, invalidations and track limits are very hard, especially at this track. Professor Cronotis is going to find himself sitting just in front of Kevin Yu, a full 10th ahead. So within reach for Kevin Yu, but I wouldn't be surprised if Cronotis can find a little bit more pace in these conditions. Kerbel's going to be coming across the line to try and improve his time to Sarah Liu, and will do so by another 3/10 to make it 5/10 to Sarah. Now, Sarah has been quick all season long, so has Kerbel. The Lexuses have been utterly dominant. So let's see how close can Sarah overtake Kerbel, or can she get it within a 10th here? So my gut tells me within a 10th. I was wrong. Never trust me.
It's within 2/10, and it swings in the direction of Sarah, so she takes provisional pole with that last lap. Kevin Yu moves up to be the best Ferrari of the 3. He moves up into the top 3 as well. Cronotis to 4th. Jim Reynolds gets a valid lap on the board, and he does, in fact, get into the top 5 there. Mock Speed looking for an improvement on his lap. He does get one, but needs another second to try to match the pace of Tony Gold in the number 91 Aston Martin.
Kane says kind of sad watching this now because I had pace for 3rd. Well, you should have joined the multi-class. Even more reason to drive. You think you're good? Then drive. It's simple as that. Kevin Yu now past the chicane. Some of these drivers might have time for 2 more laps. There might even be 3, depending on where they are in relation to the track. Kevin just needs to improve his gap to Professor Cronotis and Jim Reynolds. So any type of time gain would be beneficial. Oh my! Hello, Max Verstappen, it is nice to see you. Finds and puts over a second between 3rd and 4th. Can Jim Reynolds, though, respond? A response is given, but not nearly enough. Cuts the gap in half. Jim Reynolds finds himself P4. Professor Cronotis will not be able to respond this lap as he is invalidated.
Yeah, that chicane takes another victim here in the qualifying session. What looked like P3 now down to P5 with the other Ferraris improving in the GT3 field. And can Kevin Yu find another blistering lap to challenge the 2 Lexuses sitting at the front of the field? Less than 2 minutes on the clock. This will certainly be the last lap for the drivers coming across the line. Cronotis might have gotten lucky there. I think he crossed with a bit of time to spare, so he might have this lap plus 1 more, if he's got the fuel for it, of course. Neil Kerbel now just crossing the line. This will be his last flying lap attempt to try and displace Sarah Liu from pole position.
Well, at least in the case of Kerbel and everyone else that's driving on this track, they don't have to worry about skid wear, Kuja.
Yes, it is true. The lone McLaren being driven by Carabete in the GT4s.
Disqualify him right now.
Oh, and Sarah Liu will go back to the pits, unable to get an improvement. And so, can Neil Kerbel find the time? We'll tune back in with him. Professor Cronotis looking to be the best Ferrari on the grid. Jim Reynolds back to the pits. 4th will be the highest that the 313 can finish. Can Professor Cronotis find the half a second needed to get ahead of Jim Reynolds? And then a further 7/10 to get close to Kevin Yu. Where will the 42 Ferrari go? He gets ahead of Jim Reynolds and exactly 3/10 behind Kevin Yu, and he did cross the line before the checkered flag, so he's got one more flying lap attempt.
That is very nice. Very, very nice. Can Neil Kerbal find the time to beat Sarah? He finds time, but it is not nearly enough to catch Sarah Liu, and he pulls off the road and in disappointment. Kevin Yu just looking to now add a little bit more time to the gap between him and Professor Chronotis so that Chronotis does not snipe it on the line, and Professor Chronotis has his work cut out for him as he has now got to find another 5/10 to try and get past Kevin Yu. So now this spotlight is all on the Professor. Mach speed has invalidated and will not be setting another lap time, so the camera shines brightest on the turtle shell car himself, and the spotlights are too bright as he invalidates immediately upon me saying that.
The chicane takes another victim.
The chicane plus the curse is inevitable. That is like, oh, hello, random people we are staring at.
The fans are excited and absolutely roaring for the action to begin here. And I am too.
I want to make so many comments, but like, it's just so, it looks like they're just waiting for like a soccer match or something. Like, they're just like, yeah. Like, how do they even have a view? Where are those houses?
You know, we'll have to investigate that later on. But let's remind ourselves of the starting grid for the GT4s. You've got Ilpo Ruotsalainen starting from pole position in the 204. Creme de la Course Camaro in an all too familiar position to him. Alongside will be Alex Freeman, returning after a couple of race breaks in the AF Sport. Number 14, Aston Martin, and he will look to continue his podium-setting ways from the past. He starts from second. Can he challenge Ilpo for the lead early on? Justin Beachley in the number 18 Beach GT AMG lines up in third place, and he's got good results in the championship so far to find himself pretty high up. Can he also find himself closer to that front and provide a challenge to Ilpo? Diego Mostachero next alongside him in fourth in the Naps team, number 44, Aston Martin. And then you've got Fernando Carabete from the rookies in the 704. The KRT starts from fifth. Alongside him on the third row is Andres Mostachero in the 105 Naps BMW. In the sister car behind, in seventh, is Brian DeSantiago in the 777 NPG Racing. Lots of sevens there for Brian. Alongside on the fourth row will be Rally Dutchy in the Ninetail Racing 621 Janetta, the lone one on the grid. Unusual to see. We usually have a whole swarm of them. Dr. Porkchop in the Chop Shop Racing number 71 Alpine starts alongside the Janetta, and he will have Hezzy Thomas in the Dog Box Racing number 59 KTM for company. Last but not least, in the GT4s, you've got Pak Hae Kwan in the number 10 Porsche. And over to Tyler for the GT3s.
Sarah Liu snapping pole position away from my championship winning teammate. She will sit P1 in that 310 Lexus. In P2 is my good friend and teammate Neil Kerbal in that wonderful, wonderful Lexus. That looks quite nice in this always beautiful number 395. On the second row, you have a Ferrari lockout. Kevin Yu was able to set beautiful laps, almost the same pace as Neil Kerbal. For P3, he's in the number 95 Ferrari. And then as you watch Professor Chronotis fly by, he will sit P4 behind Kevin Yu for the start in the Whoa 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 Turtle Mobile. Then behind him is another Ferrari of Jim Reynolds, also finding a little bit of Coldplay concert moment with that crowd shot. Jim Reynolds will sit P5, and then Devin Anthony will keep him for company on that third third row spot in the Noobs Are Us 664 Porsche. And then you have fellow rookie Tony Gold in the Coach Dave Academy Aston Martin. I wouldn't normally cheer for you, but you are in an Aston Martin GT3, so you have my points. Then you got Mach Speed in the I can't tell how many E's are in this speed in the Mach Speed Mobile 145. And then all the way at the back is Beluga and the Beluga Racing Team Porsche number 5. Got more GT, actually split even actually between GT3 and GT4. Wait, no, I lied. No, there's 9.
Yep, you liar. You're a liar. Once again, Tyler just lying the entire broadcast here as the formation lap is underway, almost to the third sector, getting everything nice and warm, slightly hotter conditions than we had in the qualifying, but still very British-like, unlike we saw at the rookies this Monday at Oulton Park, with temperatures getting into the 30s and 40s. Nice and cool. There goes Professor Chronotis at the infamous chicane, going all the way through.
Predictions coming out for you.
Predictions for me, Alex Freeman's going to have a strong return after being off for a few races, I remember. And I believe one of the Mostacheros, actually I'm going to say 2 of the Mostacheros will finish in the top 5. They're both going to get top 5 results. And that will be my prediction for the GT4s, and I'll give you the GT3 ones.
Jim Reynolds will podium. Chronotis will finish 3rd last, and then Kerbel's gonna win the race.
And there it is. Over to the short blast, to the green light to release the grid for the 50-minute race at round 6 at Donington, and it's a sprint between the 2 Lexuses to turn 1. Kevin Yu gets a good getaway from Professor Chronotis to hang on to 3rd. Neil Kerbel trying to sling it around the outside. Sarah covering off the inside, a couple cars going wide. Neil Kerbel being one of them. Onto the gravel, slowing himself down. Kevin Yu moves up to 2nd place, and now trying to challenge Sarah Liu for the race lead. Jim Reynolds getting out of Professor Chronotis, who did the same mistake, and Kevin Yu and Jim Reynolds mirror each other, going wide at turn number 4 as the Lexus and Professor Chronotis did at turn 1. They return the favor and give those positions right back. Tony Gold benefiting a lot, moving up into the top 5.
Beachley now looking to see if he can maybe get Ilpo here. What is that Aston Martin? Is that the Aston Martin of Tony Gold?
That's Alex Freeman.
That's Alex Freeman. Oh my goodness, where's Ilpo? Oh, Ilpo's way ahead, never mind. I thought maybe Alex Freeman was taking the, Beachley, he's losing out in the middle. This is gonna be tight. You don't normally see side by side through there, but both drivers managing to hang on. Beachley's gonna take a little bit of the grass, not the beach he wants to. Fernando is looking at this like, where can I position my car to try and get both of them ideally? And what a move, inside move there by, I do believe that was a Mostachero. However, Canabrete is actually losing to Devin Anthony behind. There's a GT3 in the middle of all of this, so that's going to complicate matters, only to which I can't even imagine. So he's going to be able to get past Beachley, but he's not going to be able to get past Mostachero, who's currently just trying to hold everyone back. Mostachero lets him go. That might be dangerous though, as Beachley, Canabrete, and De Santiago are all itching behind to see what they can do here.
Yeah, they are getting close, and the 2 GT3s are getting close. Jim Reynolds around the outside of Tony Gold to retake 5th place. Those 2 are battling for the 1st sector as the GT4 is trying to get their position settled. Jim Reynolds back into the top 5, but Tony Gold not giving him any breathing room to try and stay right close.
I thought he was flying off there. I didn't think he had the speed to contain that. Speaking of speed, the top 2 are starting to run away from the field, but that was to be expected. But can Kerbel catch Sarah? He's got a little bit of work to do. 4/10 is a lot, especially when it comes to these 2.
Yeah, and the GT3s especially, it's quite a big gap. You need to be bumper to bumper to really send a move around Donington. And Neil Kerbel's trying to get closer and closer. So it's a battle here between the top two and a battle between Professor Chronotis and Kevin Yu. Not too far behind between the two Ferraris for that final podium position.
It would definitely take a miracle for my predictions to become right now. Jim Reynolds is stuck in 5th. Chronotis looks like he's got 4th pretty much on lock, and Kerbel's got the fastest lap, but he isn't in P1 yet. So far I think my predictions are not looking pretty good in the GT3 section, as Catabrete is currently holding on. Not everyone can beat the Kerbel. Listen, the only reason you won last night is because he went through a journey into the pits for the sake of getting refreshment. That's the only reason you won that race, Gav. Have some humbleness, as Catabrete is actually going to lose a lot of time going through the grass. De Santiago is going to go down the inside here and get ahead of Catabrete after the mistake he made. And it's going to be very hard to pass that BMW. The McLaren GT4, he had a drink of it. Yeah, he needed some refreshments. Now, the BMW does have straight line speed, but the GT4 McLaren is all powerful.
Oh yeah, we've seen the power of that all season long in the rookies, and into the chicane they go, but it is not as heavy as a braking zone that Catabrete would have liked. Brian De Santiago just keeping it on track there with the wheel going off onto the grass. The BMW keeping the direction, but Catabrete senses a move and has his nose down the inside of turn 11, but going up to turn 12, Brian De Santiago is going to defend that position. But Catabete's looking to get the over-under done. Brian De Santiago doesn't cover off that inside, and they are going to continue to go side by side down the main straight with De Santiago having the inside line, but the McLaren gets ahead. The BMW has to tuck behind. Oh, and he taps Catabete.
And off he goes into the gravel. That was looking so good. Careful on the rejoin, Mr. Catabrete. You got pork chop and mostachero there. Oh, that's quite unfortunate. I think we'll see him back up there. He's got the pace. That's just a little bit unfortunate. But De Santiago just couldn't get on the brakes hard enough. However, Dr. Porkchop is in danger from Diego in that Aston Martin. That Alpine not very good in the straight line, as we all know, because it is an Alpine. Catabrete actually might have to think of a move here, because Dr. Porkchop seems to be quite slow. And Dr. Porkchop is going to be a sitting duck in the straight in that Alpine against a McLaren.
Yeah, on the bright side, he has a slipstream from the Aston Martin in front. We'll see how beneficial that will be. And like on the previous lap, that McLaren is getting close to the Alpine, but that is not that heavy of a braking zone. This might be a much better opportunity, as on the acceleration out of the chicane, they are already side by side before the braking zone. The McLaren has the inside, goes a little bit deep. The Alpine senses a position back, and he gets it. Now they're going to continue side by side into the braking zone of turn 12, and it is a replica of the same move on the previous lap. Dr. Porkchop trying to go for the over-under, as Catabrete did on the previous lap, but again, the disadvantage for the Alpine is that there is a straightaway after that tight corner, so the McLaren will remain ahead, and he will try to challenge Diego Mostachero about a second and a half up the road.
The only way that could have gotten funnier, the only way, is if he got bumped by Porkchop, and the recycle had just repeated. That was the only way that was going to get fun. Kevin Hughes on the back of Sarah must have had it off. There's no way Sarah would be 5 seconds back without having it off. She is in the clutches of Kevin and Professor. Sarah's just going to manage to barely get away as they're going to get closer and closer. Oh! The bumper's going to tap, and that's Sarah off of the side. And she's not going to dive into the pits. Instead, Professor Chronotis is going to move up into P2, benefiting from that contact between Sarah Liu and Kevin Yu.
Yeah, unfortunate there to see from the GT3s. Not sure what happened to Sarah. She did drop a pretty good amount of lap time on that lap. Was 5 seconds off of her personal best. Dropped the position to Neil Kerbel, but Diego Mostachero taking advantage of the BMW going a little bit deep, and the 777 will have to try the over-under move again, but this time he defends the inside. Can he defend tight enough to prevent the Aston from going the over-under direction? It looks like he's safe for the time being, but going into the braking zone of turn 1, Brian DeSantiago still has a lot of work to do to keep that Aston Martin behind.
Going to be a tight battle for him. This is currently the battle for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th in the GT4. Is a very coveted position. Not as good as a podium, but definitely want to be top 5 in your own class. Can't complain there. That's Mach Speed bringing out the yellow flags from behind, and that is going to be Diego. Oh, DeSantiago getting a bit squirrely. He might lose this position here to Diego. They're going to go side by side. Brian takes too much speed, goes into the gravel. Carabrete will say thank you very much. That is karma for what you did to me a few laps ago. And off he goes on the chase for Diego as Ilpo, Freeman, Beachley, and Andreas drive off into the distance. There is a significant gap between the top 4 and the rest of the GT4 field. Carabrete, though, we've seen him make a late move here before. Oh my gosh, someone just died in the background.
I think that was the Beluga in the number 5 Porsche.
He just ate wall. So
yeah,
he's probably gonna have to pit for repairs.
Yeah, I think the rear of that Porsche just got a little bit too loose after the chicane exit and just couldn't stop the snap and went into the wall. But here, Fernando trying his best to stay close to Diego Mostachero in that 44 Aston Martin as he continues in pursuit of Andres in front, currently sitting in 4th in the GT4s. This is the battle for that final spot in the top 5. The Alpine not too far off of Brian DeSantiago, for 7th and 8th in the GT4s. And like you said, Ilpo has a pretty good gap to Alex Freeman, about 4.5 seconds separate the 2 leaders in the GT4s. Then it's another 3.5 seconds to Justin Beachley, who was able to get by Andres Mostachero after losing that top 3 position on the early laps. Sarah Liu gets back through Professor Chronotis, so the number 310 Lexus gets back to 2nd place, but the gap pretty significant to Neil Kerbel in front, right around 10 seconds. We know Sarah's got the pace, and now is certainly the time for her to show it.
So, just going through what we have in the 15 minutes, it has now been 10 minutes since the start of this race. So far, I have at least one prediction right, with Kerbel being P1. Everyone else is kind of sad. You have 2 predictions correct, because both Mostacheros are in the top 5, as well as Freeman is actually P2. So, you seem to be
keep it up, boys.
Right now.
Keep it up.
I was about to say, you're looking pretty good right now as it stands. Yeah, I would not be able to complain there.
Yeah, going well. Can't complain indeed. And I think I'm.
Traffic.
Yeah, that's
traffic.
Yep, just traffic involvement. That's how it usually goes in the GT3 and GT4 multi-class here at Trackalicious on Wednesdays. And Donington, a pretty narrow track at that. And so when that moment comes, will we see some drama, or will we see some clean overtaking between the faster and slower cars? Only time will tell. And will Ilpo do his usual pit stop of coming in right before the GT3s hit him? And once again, Alex Freeman, known for that early stop, will he do his all too familiar strategy to us of coming in early? It's a little bit later than he would usually come in, though.
Yeah, like in my Tuesday races, I box as soon as it opens. Like, I want to be in that pit as soon as they tell me, hey, it's open. I want to be like on the line. but nobody has elected to pit yet. Donington's not too tough on tires, but they do get a little bit sad at the end, just depending on how hard you push.
Yeah, luckily for them, it's slightly colder, so they shouldn't be heating up and suffering from blistering so much. It's just a matter of, yeah, like you said, how hard they're pushing them throughout the 50-minute race we have.
I wonder what more chaos we're gonna get. It's been a quiet 5 minutes. I don't like that.
It's been a little tame.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm just gonna clap my hand. It's a Tyler trademark early pit stop. I actually copied it from Alex Freeman. Freeman's the one that actually started it. I learned that from Freeman like way back in Hungaroring when he first did that. So I'm just gonna clap my hands and there'll be chaos.
Well, you almost had it there.
Oh my god, if that had caused it, I would have cried. I would have cried so hard of laughter. But nope, chaos does not happen at the clap of my fingers. Maybe it's just in a delayed effect, who knows. I don't run the racing sim gods. So for now we'll just have to watch racing. There's no excitement. I mean, there probably will be. Elpo will probably pit here to avoid GT traffic. Or not, I'll just go cry.
Another Tyler prediction not coming true today. Which is kind of good, I guess. We don't have the curse as enabled as we think it is. And here's Neil Kerbel beginning to catch up to the podium sitters in the GT3s. He's just got Beachley up ahead. Andres Mostachero goes into the pits from 4th. So that is a relatively early pit stop. And yeah, he's the first one to come into the pits, in fact, in his 105 BMW.
Who's the lone car on the one side of the track?
The 145, that's Mach Speed.
Mach Speed literally does not know if there are any cars around. Like, he can land an airplane with that much space that he has right now.
Yeah, well, Donington is famously close to the airport nearby. They do have the planes fly over in the sim, which is kind of a cool feature, actually. I like that little touch.
It's a cool feature, but if you have the ambiance, like, volume a little too loud, you suddenly feel like the jet engine is literally in your ear.
Yeah, certainly heard it in the practice session before everybody got rolling underway. Everybody was just in the pits and the driver's briefing, and the jets were flying over. You could hear them quite clearly, but with the engines roaring of the GT3 and the GT4 cars, they will certainly be canceling out any sort of noise from those jet engines trying to land at the nearby airport.
If Gav is still watching, and based off of the fact he sent a message not too long ago, he probably still is. The funniest moment I have of Donington is what I like to call wizard like kind of poop, I guess. So one of the drivers disconnected, and this is Chronotis and you getting involved with some back marker traffic, aka GT4s. A driver disconnected right at turn 1 and then just proceeded to that car poofed. I swear that car poofed. But one car disconnected and just flew up into the air and just levitated.
Yep, that'll happen.
I'm just like, what? I literally did not have a reaction to it. There were no words. And there will be no words here when Kevin Yu eventually collides with Professor Chronotis in the braking zone in the hairpin. Ooh, that is ballsy by Professor Chronotis to do that, because that's going to cause him to lose some time. And that's going to be Kevin Yu and Professor Chronotis going side by side, getting ready to go into the chicane. Chronotis stays ahead. But will Kevin Yu think of the dive bomb here? Professor Chronotis defends the inside, heads back towards the middle. Kevin Yu's gonna try and go all the way around. He's got that more inside line. Professor Chronotis defends the outside, which now will become the inside. I was wrong about the collision, but will it happen at another point in time? Cronotis still defending the inside. Kevin Yu just trying desperately to get a better launch, but can't seem to find it. He is still sticking onto the back of Professor Cronotis. This is what the passenger sees, who's sitting in the cameraman, who is invisible to the rest of the world. Professor Cronotis trying not to lose the rear of that Ferrari. It is the same machinery battle. You won't see this in F1 because they are sitting in P12 and P13 most times. As round the outside is going to be Kevin Yu. Cronotis defends it quite well as they now head up, and I'm going to throw it to Kuja because they're going to run out of breath here.
Well, that's just how it goes if you do a full lap around here. They're still trying to go side by side as they head back up the hill at turn number 7, and on the approach to turn 8, this is where they got involved with a little bit of traffic. Not the same story this go around. Kevin Yu has a much cleaner run, and he's just not quite along side by side enough to send it into the chicane just yet, but he's trying his best to throw the professor off course, but he is leading the course, and Kevin Yu just has to take a back seat and just sit back and wait for a more opportune moment with Justin Beachley up ahead in the GT4 field. Is this the moment that we are looking for? Professor Cronotis down the inside, Kevin Yu looking to follow, and now once again he's just not quite close enough to send it down into the braking zone just yet.
Freeman has pit, so he'll also pit at some point, so GT3 traffic did in fact reach him. So he is now pit. Alex Freeman's going to respond. However, Kevin Yu and Professor Cronotis are just kind of battling in their own little world right now. Kevin Yu's going to have to wait. This first and second sector really isn't advantageous for overtaking. It is for going deep into the grass though, however. Both drivers managing to respond to that well. Dr. Porkchop also now in the pits. Kevin Yu trying desperately to find some type of advantage on this professor, but the professor is teaching a masterclass in defense. Kevin Yu is going to get the much better exit, but Professor Cronotis finds that little bit of grip on exit, which should just be enough. Kevin Yu is going to have to go round the outside, or he's going to have to wait and maybe just try and get a little bit more exit speed, and that is what he will do. He bumps the back of Professor Cronotis. Cronotis defends the middle, sticks to the inside. Kevin Yu is going to go round the outside. He's going to try and do this move again. Professor Cronotis remembers it from the first time, blocks it accordingly. The professor is teaching a masterclass of defense, and Kevin Yu is unable to try and beat him at this game. The professor does teach well. Maybe Kevin Yu can learn from this and try and do this when he eventually gets past Professor Cronotis.
He's got a good run going down the hill here, but not a heavy braking zone coming up. If he can just get side by side, but it twists from left to right to left and into the braking zone just here at the bottom of the hill. It is just a tap, and this is the best opportunity we've seen going up the hill, exiting turn 4. He's gonna have the inside into the braking zone. A stop go 30 for Quan, but Kevin Yu down the inside, contact with the Ferrari of Professor Cronotis. He still has the inside and gets ahead and takes 3rd place.
I don't mind that. Rubbin is racing. They were both still on track. A little argy-bargy ain't gonna hurt nobody. Now, Professor Cronotis does not think about the dive. He's gonna let Kevin Yu eventually kind of get a little squirrely there, but now he is gonna see and grade Kevin Yu's defense. He spent the last 2-3 laps defending. Now it's Kevin Yu's turn against the professor. The professor, now the student now the professor. What can Kevin Yu do? Will he make the same mistakes? Will the professor know what Kevin Yu is going to do? What grade will you give this defense? Let us know in the comments and in the chat below. Do you think Kevin Yu can hold off Professor Cronotis for the next 28 minutes?
And those two still have a pit stop to do. These are the leaders of the GT4s with the rest of the GT4 field just about coming into the pits. That was Carabete going down the inside a little bit deep. De Santiago opened that door because he wanted the over-under, and they're going to battle side by side into the final hairpin. Carabete going deep again. Brian De Santiago to the inside, and they are challenging each other side by side down the main straight. McLaren having the power to get that position and move ahead of Brian De Santiago.
I thought De Santiago was about to boo-boo again. I would have laughed so hard. Oh, wait a minute. This could get spicy. Hold on. They're going to be side by side. The McLaren does have the advantage, though, in these kind of twisty, turny corners. De Santiago is going to have to think of a move here, and he elects to sit and wait. He's going to try and get a better exit. It's all about exit speed here at Donington as De Santiago looks desperately to try and find some space to get side by side. I don't think he's going to be able to find it. And does he hit him? No, he doesn't, but he does upset himself in the process. Thankfully, no one is around, not even a car in sight. Mach speed at least 5 seconds away. Catabrete will get that position and won't have to defend for long. But that was close. I do praise De Santiago for not being able to hit Carabrete there and only really ruining himself.
Yeah, that was very close between the two of them. But yeah, like you said, very good avoidance from the BMW. Tony Gold into the pits. He is the first GT3 driver to go into the pits right around the halfway mark of the race. Most of the GT4s have come in, still waiting for Hezi Thomas, Rally Dutchy, Carabete here in the 704 McLaren, and Brian De Santiago in the 777, not too far behind. And now is the time that Fernando decides to come in for that mandatory pit stop, as does Brian De Santiago following him in.
Someone else went in there too.
Yeah, that was Neil Kerbel from the pits, or from the lead, I should say, into the pits. Ilpo retakes the lead of the GT4 field.
Very nice.
Well, we've got some pit stops going on. I think now's a good time to check out how the standings look in the GT4 field. On top, you've got Ilpo leading the way by 27 points from Justin Beachley in second place. Then you've got Andres Mostachero in third, not too far behind. Only 9 points separates third from second. Then you've got Diego Mostachero in fourth, with Joe Chericola in fifth, Brian De Santiago in sixth, Dr. Porkchop seventh, Rally Dutchy in eighth, and Pak Hei Kwan in ninth place. So Ilpo looking to continue his form and take an even bigger lead in the championship over his rival Justin Beachley, who has done that pit stop but has found himself a bit further behind Alex Freeman than he may have liked to challenge Alex in the Aston Martin for second place. Diego Mostachero's not too far behind there in the 44 Aston Martin, so could we see him challenging Justin Beachley for that final podium position come the end of the race?
Yeah, it's entirely possible. I mean, you also have a Ferrari, a few Ferraris actually kind of in the middle here. Professor Cronotis has pit. Kevin Yu has not, Jim Reynolds has not, and Devin Anthony has not either. So the top three obviously have not pitted, and you and Cronotis were in a battle. Speaking of which, one of them has decided to come in. That would be Kevin Yu. So where is Professor Cronotis in all of this? He is just leaving and getting to the second sector end timing line now, because they were in a close battle, but Professor was behind by about 1.5 seconds when he went into the pits. I don't think Donington's a good undercut circuit. I think it's an overcut circuit, if my mind is to be mistaken, and I've been wrong this entire time, so I could absolutely be wrong. So we will wait for Kevin Yu to get that number one erased from his name, and there it goes. Where is Kevin Yu going to come out in relation to the number 42? There is the pit exit line right there. Off he goes. He is going to maintain that position.
Hangs on to that final podium spot in third in the GT3s. Jim Reynolds now remains the lone GT3 driver to stay out and not do his mandatory pit stop just yet. With the rest of the field coming in, Neil Kerbel maintains his advantage over Sarah Liu, and in fact it has grown a little bit more to about 14 seconds between the 395 Lexus and the number 310.
As we hear, actually, as I hear one of the planes fly by, actually. You can hear it a little bit.
A little bit, how about that?
Oh, there it is in the background.
Yeah, not too, yeah, exactly. See, commentator's curse. Plane comes into shot.
Well, at least it's not landing on the track.
Yeah, that's a good, that is an absolute good sign. Tony Gold and Devin Anthony getting through the GT4 leader Ilpo Ruotsalainen while they battle for position. This is for 6th and 7th in the GT3 field. Coming up to the chicane, the Porsche ahead of the Aston Martin, both already coming into the pits, so this is a straight battle all the way to the end for the remaining 21 minutes of round number 6.
We've actually had a surprising amount of close battles for it being Donington, to be honest. Because normally, Donington's just a difficult track to overtake, because it's not really like... Where would you say there's heavy braking zones? Obviously that hairpin. Or that, yeah, that kind of like, yeah, I guess that's considered a hairpin, even though it's a 90-degree corner everywhere you look. Because like the chicane's not really a heavy braking zone. It's kind of just like, honestly, I don't know what it's like.
Yeah, it's not the heaviest of braking zones. These are the best opportunities for overlaps, as you can certainly pull off an over-under move, and these are the two Mostacheros battling for position. Andres getting ahead of Diego, looking like Diego making a mistake on the previous lap after he was trying to challenge Justin Beachley for that podium position. Now challenging Andres for 4th, exiting turn number 1. They were going to have Neil Kerbel approaching this battle. How is the Lexus going to approach them? And he is trying desperately to get through, gets by the Aston Martin, still needs to get through the BMW. Will Andres give way to Diego here? A little bit of a sketchy way to get through, but he gets it done.
Yeah, Kerbel just cuts the track. It's fine. It's okay. No harm, no foul. No one is hurt. How do brothers fight on track? Like, genuinely, how does this work? Because, like, do they just go, I'm older, let me by? Oh, hello. That's a Beluga sitting. That's a straight-in Beluga.
Yeah, that's the number 5 Porsche there. Getting back and rolling, though, it didn't look like there was too much damage on that Porsche. So he's able to get back and going into the race. Still Jim Reynolds and Hezzy Thomas remaining to serve the mandatory pit stop. And Diego still trying to get by Andres in this battle for 4th and 5th in the GT4s.
I wonder if, like, in this situation, the younger brother's like, Mom, the older brother won't let me pass. Make him let me pass. It's
He's
like,
bullying me.
It's my turn with the controller.
It could be just how it goes.
It's gonna be so much fun when we try and have stuff to talk about in the next couple days.
Oh, absolutely. It's gonna be a blast.
Yeah, it'll be interesting having to try and feel the air as this. Oh no, their battle is never ending.
Part 7. With Professor Chronotis trying to go through as well. The GT4 is making life a little bit easy for the Ferrari there. Unlike the Lexus of Neil Kerbel we saw in the previous lap, having to dodge, dive, duck, dip, and dodge the GT4's Brian DeSantiago losing the rear end at turn 4, but keeps the car pointed in the right direction and not really losing much time to the bumper of Fernando Carabete in front.
That is Rocket League. What a save, what a save, what a save times 3. I thought for sure he was losing that car. That car was almost borderline going sideways. The BMW is an absolute tank though, and is gonna get some straight line speed advantage. The brothers are still fighting. They've swapped positions. Apparently Mama's gotten involved. So I don't know who's older and who's
Team
younger,
orders.
Team orders, and that is a drifting BMW.
So Andres will try to do the same as Brian and pull off a move in the BMW. Aggressive move to the inside of turn 1. They're going to go side by side. So much space and respect between the two of them. But heading back down the hill, it's going to be tricky to go side by side into turn 4. The BMW getting ahead just that little bit, has the inside, but the 44 Aston is going to be able to keep the grip and keep the momentum all the way up the hill, and he's got the inside line. But now Andres going up to the braking zone will have the inside. He's gonna go a little bit deep, but able to keep the car controlled and takes the apex, and they're still gonna go side by side all the way up into turn 8 and going into the chicane. They're gonna have Vladimir Beluga trying to go through as well in the GT3 Porsche.
Oh my god, there's just no room for Beluga to go. He's gonna have to wait beside this. And down the, oh my goodness. As that is Diego finally getting away seemingly from his brother. Thankfully, it looks like this is over, but something tells me this isn't over. That's actually Beachley that is gone. Was that Beachley that had the yellow flag there for a minute, or was that the number 10 of Kwan? I think that was the 10 of Kwan.
Yeah, all looks well and dandy for the number 18. Continuing to try and chase down Alex Freeman, but that gap is pretty wide open between second and third in the GT4s. Brian DeSantiago in hot pursuit still. Tony Gold gets a drive-through in his battle with Devin Anthony. That will certainly cost him that position to Devin Anthony, and maybe even more to Mach Speed behind, as Brian DeSantiago once again can't get that over-under move done, exiting the final corner.
He really wants that over-under move done. Like,
Carabete's giving it to him.
Yeah, but Carabete's going aggressively into corners. It's opening it up. And the BMW can follow. It is a good following car. Carabete's just like, he's in a McLaren. He should be starting to run away with this. But he's just not. He just can't get away from DeSantiago, it seems.
Yes, he's certainly keeping him company in this battle for 6th and 7th in the GT4s, as they have also dropped back a little bit from Andres and Diego for a top 5 position in the GT4s. But as the sun sets, this battle continues to rage on, when with less than 14 minutes on the clock, it is coming down to the wire. It might be time for those last minute sends to try and get those positions.
I wonder if Hezzy Thomas is even going to pit at all at this rate. He hasn't pit yet. He's done races a few times where he hasn't pit. Yeah, Carabete's just taking these these corners in the sectors so aggressively, and it's just opening him up to these over-unders. It's allowing DeSantiago to keep it close. Who's that behind? Is that Devin Anthony? Yes, it is.
It sure is. And we'll see what happens, when multi-class traffic approaches. Will it giveth or will it taketh?
Ooh, he's getting squirrely on exit. DeSantiago is. He's right on the bumper of Carabete, but Carabete's doing just enough to keep him behind. But then again, DeSantiago is going to have to find a lot of space, because that BMW is about as wide as a Mack truck.
is getting wide, and in this particular part of the track, Devin Anthony trying to find his way through the GT4s as Carabete goes a little bit deep. Brian DeSantiago sends a nose up the inside, up the hill into turn 8, and he goes late on the brakes and tap to the McLaren, forces him a little bit wide, but still in the race is the McLaren as Brian DeSantiago able to get that position after a little bit of side-by-side contact, moves up to 6th place.
I personally like that move. It looked like Carabete might have just turned into the Santiago. Not that he didn't think he was there, but maybe just the fact that he was just kind of turning in and hoping that the Santiago had maybe already turned. But with the momentum that the Santiago was carrying, that he would have just had to go around the outside. I still think the Santiago makes that corner and they can go side by side. It's just unfortunate. And Carabete does have the pace where, look, he's already pretty much on the back of the Santiago, so I don't think that hurts anybody.
Oh yeah, we've seen Carabete send a few moves into these hairpins before, and with how he takes those corners, we've seen it before, just opening up the inside, but it doesn't matter if you've got the track position there, and so will we see those types of attacks here now with, I want to say about 4, 5, 6 laps remaining.
Oh, there's Carabete. I didn't see him there for a minute. I was about to say, that better not have been Goebbels. No, it is not. That is
Necessarily you.
No, I want to know who's that behind those Quan.
Ah. Yeah,
Sarah's kind of just chilling now.
Yep, she's got a good gap behind and ahead, and just looking to cleanly slice her way through the GT4 field without any incident here. And while the battles have quieted down a touch, we can now take a look at the GT3 standings and how they shape up going into this round. Sarah Liu on top by 23 points, leading the sister car of Neil Kerbel in second. Then you've got 4 Ferraris. You've got Professor Chronotis leading the way. He takes third in the championship ahead of Jim Reynolds by 16 points. And then Kevin Yu trails Jim Reynolds by 9 to round out the top 5. Brian Zerline is the last of those 4 Ferraris in 6th. Then you've got Devin Anthony in 7th, Joe Allenson in 8th, Vegard Henriksen in 9th, and Dean Stefani rounds out your top 10. Back to the action. Fernando Carabete not giving Brian DeSantiago any breathing room, and there's Neil Kerbel now approaching this battle.
Oh, Kerbel has to find some space. It looks like he's gonna, is he just about to go weave through this? Nope, he's got the inside. That should be, oh. What?
Oh goodness. Carabete goes deep.
Was that brake failure?
You know, it might have just gone onto the grass a little bit and just not been able to slow down in time.
Maybe, because like, he just kind of just went straight. So, well, that battle's gone for the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, hopefully there will be enough time left for the 704 McLaren to chase down the BMW and get that 6th place position back. Only time will tell, though. But time is running out. Less than 9 minutes on the clock.
How are the brothers doing? Oh, they're separated by quite a bit now. Okay, well, it was fun while it lasted. As we look back at the predictions in the final 10 minutes, I at least got 1 correct with Kerbel. You have 2 correct.
Yep.
Because you had Freeman doing well, and he's in P2. You had the both Mustacheros in the top 5, which they are.
Yep. And I think that was it. I think I just had the 2.
Are you sure you didn't have 3? Like, because I mean, yeah, you might have just had 2. Because I had 3, which is Kerbel.
I think I said 2, but I counted the Mostacheros as 2 separate ones.
Ah, okay.
So I picked 3 drivers, but only in 2 statements.
Yes, okay, that makes sense. So, all right, yep, that solves that pretty much to a T. So you've been perfect, and I'm just sitting here 1 for 3.
So far.
Does Devin I mean, unless Kevin, you and Professor Granolas collide, and Jim Reynolds, how friggin' far away is he from this group?
About 15 seconds behind Professor Chronotis for 4th place, but still in that top 5 position, and he is in a good championship standing as well in the battle of the Ferraris, who will come out on top with just 2 rounds to go after this one. Yeah, it's super close between the manufacturers. The 2 Lexuses on top, separated by about 20 points, and then all of the Ferraris from 3rd to 6th, also only really separated by about 25 points.
Yeah, so unless you and Chronotis come together and a miracle occurs, and unless Chronotis falls, because Beluga's there in 19 Mach speed, unless he falls like a god tier amount of time, he's not coming 3rd last. Oh, there's another plane landing.
It is busy at this time of day. Everybody's trying to get to Donington to catch the end of the race, with Jim Reynolds in a strong top 5 position here, has a good gap behind Devin Anthony as well. Just needs to work his way through the GT4s. He's got Dr. Porkchop and Quan up ahead of him. There is the Alpine we know and love.
Hopefully I won't see it on Monday. I mean that in the nicest way possible. I don't mean that in a bad way. I hope to be faster than Porkchop. Because if I see Porkchop, I'm like mid-pack. He's actually done pretty well in that Alpine, actually, I will say. He's gotten much better in that Alpine since when he first got in that thing.
100%. Learning the car, learning the racecraft of it as well. You just have to race a lot differently in the Alpine than you would in something like the McLaren or the BMW, where you can kind of use that straight line speed and just kind of naturally get on the power. But in the Alpine, you just have to sling it into the corners, carry as much speed as possible into every single corner to try and maximize those straights. And here, like we see, he was alongside and ahead of the Porsche exiting the turn at number 8. But then down the straight, the Porsche just has all the speed and the Alpine has to give way.
Oh, a little bit of a twitch there at the end though. And this isn't even a fight for position. That's what I find this funny as.
Yeah, not for position, but pretty similarly matched on pace are these two. And yeah, Hezzy Thomas still yet to come into the pits here.
I'm terrified for this man to get a wheel, not because of his driving, but because I'm afraid it'll actually make him a god.
Oh yeah, he's learning the racecraft and he just needs to get adjusted to the wheel and the pedals. There's Ilpo, the race leader, lapping the KTM.
I legitimately wonder what Hezzy's pace is going to be like. Give him like 3 months with that wheel and see where he is. Like,
oh yeah, then not the winter championship in 26, but probably the springtime.
I would give him to the summer personally.
Yeah, I think springtime is going to be just getting used to all the controls and how the feeling, or how everything feels, I guess. And then after that, it's just going to be getting faster and faster and faster.
Like I can say this from experience. When I first got the wheel, what car just went off? Oh, that was a Ferrari. Is that Jim Reynolds?
That is, yes, the 313 of Jim Reynolds behind the KTM here. And Hezzy Thomas still yet to come into the pits. He's going to have to on the next lap, or else he's going to get a penalty.
I honestly think he'll just take the penalty at this point. I think he's just kind of driving around for the funsies right now. Yeah, no, I say this from experience. He will definitely be slower on the wheel for the first go-around. Like, for the first few races that he does with it, he will be slower than a turtle. But once he finds pedal controls and once he gets all this wheel spin and getting the wheel motion to how he feels he's going to be able to get around the track safely with it, yeah, I fear what he could. I fear him in the mid-pack because he definitely has that race IQ. He has that ability to know. And every GT3 that has tried to pass him so far has had an issue. Speaking of issues, Neil Kerbel has had no issues whatsoever this race. He has just been chilling. Outside of lap 1 when he went into the grass and just kind of gave a position away and then got it right back immediately after, there has been no issues for Neil Kerbel.
Yeah, was able to capitalize on what we can only assume was a mistake from Sarah Liu to drop back to second. Yeah, we'll find out after our chat with her in the interview room. Neil Kerbel going to the inside of Devin Anthony. That is not for position, but still trying to get the maximum out of his lap time in what will be now his final lap of round number 6. 33 laps completed. The 34th will be the final one for the 395 Lexus of Neil Kerbel.
Like, obviously Kerbel had to pass Sarah, but like, Ilpo's had to do nothing. He's literally just been chilling this entire 50 minutes. He's just been so calm, so cool, so unaffected, to be honest, is the best word I would go with.
Yeah, and does that usual strategy of pulling in to avoid all the GT3s, and as per usual, it seems to have paid off for him this evening.
Wow, that is a lot of traffic up ahead.
And you're right, Hezzy Thomas did not go into the pits, so he will receive a post-race penalty and potentially see him sliding back a few places behind Rally Dutchy, Beluga, and Dr. Porkchop, maybe even Quan, as Neil Kerbel works through Alex Freeman. He will go on to the final corner of the race. Started on the front row behind Sarah Liu, capitalizing on the misfortunes, and he will take the top spot as he crosses the line to take the checkered flag out in front. Alex Freeman, second place in the GT4s. Devin Anthony takes 6th. Mach Speed in 8th place. Rally Dutchy, Hezzy Thomas getting a 130-second penalty for not serving the mandatory pit stop in the race this evening. Dr. Porkchop across the line there. Vladimir Beluga going super deep. Tony Gold across the line in 7th. Sarah Liu does take the checkered flag in 2nd, and she is already back to the pits.
Ilpo's just chilling now. He's just like...
Still just chilling. Justin Beachley claims P3 in the GT4s. Diego Mostachero 4th. Andres takes 5th as Ilpo here goes through the final 2 corners. Brian DeSantiago next across the line in the GT4s. He will take a 6th place finish. Carabete in his first outing, I believe, maybe is his second one, but nonetheless taking a strong 7th place, representing the rookies proudly, as is Rally Dutchy and Hezzy Thomas in the Janetta and the KTM. But Ilpo Rutsalainen will take the top spot of the podium in the GT4s. He is last across the line, but first in the GT4 grid to extend his championship lead at the top.
I'm pretty sure that almost all but clinches it for him, no? Like, he's got to, like, obviously, miracles have to occur, but getting there.
Yeah, you never know how things go. And there you have your grid on the left-hand side. Ilpo Ruotsalainen on top in the GT4s, followed by Alex Freeman and Justin Beachley on those podium positions. Diego Mostachero and Andres Mostachero round out the top 5. Brian DeSantiago 6th, Carabete 7th, Rally Duchy in 8th, Dr. Porkchop 9th, Hezzy Thomas in 10th, and Quan in 11th. Neil Kerbel on the top spot in the GT3s, Sarah Liu 2nd, Kevin Yu in 3rd, Professor Chronotis 4th, Jim Reynolds rounds out that top 5 there. Then you've got Devin Anthony in 6th, Tony Gold in 7th, Mach Speed in 8th, and then Vladimir Beluga in 9th in that GT3 field. We'll head back to our studio and take a chat with our podium sitters, should they want to join, but should they not, that's up to them.
I mean, I guess in the meantime, to kill the air, who do you think's gonna win on? What do you think this title is gonna decide out to be in F1?
Oh man, I love playing the villain more or less, and yeah, just hoping for the ultimate comeback of comebacks to happen. That would be quite something.
That's not villain though. Like Max is a hero right now at this point.
Well, yeah, I mean, to some, to many,
villain would be Lando.
Oh, I don't know. Why is he the villain?
Because no one wants him to win. Also, I'm gonna bring in Kerbal.
That's fair.
And I'm gonna bring in
That's
Sarah.
fair. We can bring in the 2 Lexus drivers finishing out on the top. And thank you for the follow there at the end as we bring in the GT3 podium sitters. Neil on top, Sarah in 2nd. Sarah, what happened there?
It was like a driving style thing. Actually, that's a 3-gear turn, but I tend to use 2nd gear, and it just has too much torque for that. Like I have to control my feet very precisely, but sometimes I just can't. You just can't, and just a mistake.
Yeah, that's just how it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
Kerbal, you just kind of chilled. It's like how it was it's like how it was last night. Just chilling.
Or the week before, which was the same track. So I have gotten practice in this, and like you actually were saying, like the 2 Lexus might not actually show up tonight. So we did, and
the result is exactly what it should have been.
You did the manufacturer proud there.
We did.
What wine of choice did you have today?
None. I'm going sober tonight, which is probably explaining why I don't feel good.
No way. You did the. I certainly believe no one willingly drives these very bad British tracks without some form of
lubrication.
I would not say lubrication. I would say assistance, but whatever works for you. Sarah, any assistance on your end?
Assistance of what?
I guess
performance enhancing substances.
Oh, I don't think.
Liquid courage, as the chat puts.
I have no ideas. Really.
We'll submit results for verification later.
Yeah. I guess the only question I really have is, who do you think's winning on Sunday? Who's going home with the championship?
I don't like Paul Ricard.
No, I meant F1. You dingus.
Oh. I don't know. I like rooting for an underdog. I really hope Verstappen actually wins.
Sarah?
Actually, me too. Yeah, me too. I mean, like I hope for chaos. I just hope for chaos.
Yes, Sarah.
It's
yes.
Like if
100%.
If McLaren literally fail because of their stupid papaya rules, then that would be so interesting.
I literally slammed my head against the wall because it's the most obvious situation to pit both cars that I've ever seen in the history of F1, and they just pit neither car, and I'm just like, what? Like, how?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the Lexus showed up. They won P1, got P2. Nothing else further after that.
Yeah,
that's just how it goes.
Besides Kerbal eating grass, lap 1.
It was dirt. It wasn't grass.
It's grass on the edge there, buddy.
Sarah
Yeah,
gave
I
me.
thought I thought I pushed a little too hard because I think I brake enough earlier, enough early, but I'm still having a lot of understeer in the middle of the corner, so the car just pushing out to the mid line, and I thought I pushed too hard and he went to the grass. So I thought it was my fault, but.
Nah, we didn't touch. He gave me plenty of room, and I'd have to say, Kevin, you saw that coming, and he tucked in right behind you and just sailed on past. I was like, no. So good strategy from Kevin Yu.
Yeah, I was like, yes, Kevin, please block him. And he went out for a second turn.
Yeah, he repaid
right.
the favor right back and went wide himself, and then allowed Neil to slip on through.
Yeah, he was like, you gotta do that yourself. I'm not helping.
And you get an off track. And you get an off track.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for streaming, guys. I will have to rewatch it tomorrow. But I'm sure it was a lot of fun out there. Passing GT4s on this track was very difficult.
It's Donington. There is no overtaking on Donington, even for blue flags.
There is. You just need to know where.
Not for me, Kerbal.
I mean, people are being very respectful here.
Yeah.
Especially this race. I think they left me enough room to overtake, so it was good.
Yeah, shout out to all the drivers for being respectful to the other classes and heeding the driver briefing and allowing space for the faster car to pass. That's all I got.
I like it.
It's
a battle to the end between you two with 2 races left. You guys leading the way in the championship, and I think with that result, Neil might have closed the gap just that little bit more. So will it be as epic as the F1 championship is going down to the wire? Thank you both for joining us for a chat as always, and congrats on the podium. And we will see you guys next week at Paul Ricard?
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys said that so reluctantly and sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess if we have to.
That's where we're going.
Happy.
Well, we certainly look forward to that and the season finale the week after that. Move you guys back here to the green room. Thanks for joining us, and we'll send it to Tyler for your final thoughts on the evening. Or maybe not.
Most likely going to have to bounce quick because I joined a hockey thing that I probably shouldn't have joined so fast. But yeah, I'll see you guys on Monday for Red Bull Ring. And again, anything less than a podium, and I might actually cry.
Well, good to hear. Hopefully we won't be seeing tears and, well, maybe tears of joy, but not sadness.
Ideally, but we'll see.
We'll see. Thanks for joining us, Tyler, tonight in the commentary box. And thank you all for joining us in the chat, all of the drivers participating this evening. We look forward to seeing the grid at Paul Ricard next week. On Monday, we have the season finale of the rookies. The championship is looking like it's heading the way of Akane Kalen, but still plenty of positions to play for in that championship. Tuesdays and Fridays LMU seasons are in the works. Keep up to date in the Discord for all of that information. Thursday is the day for any sort of iRacing action. And yeah, I believe that is all we have for that in terms of the action here at Trackalicious. And with that, we will send it over to a raid of good friend of the program, El Taco Man, doing some Le Mans Ultimate. So make sure to say hello, tell him Trackalicious sent you. Spread the love from one sim racing community to another. Have a good rest of your day, your week, your month, and your year. Hopefully, all goes well for you to close out December. Even though it just started, have a good month, everybody. We will catch you next time at Trackalicious. Hope to see you on the track. If you want to get signed up, forgot to say, get signed up on SimGrid. That is the place to go. And we will catch you next time.